Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you like the easiest dinner ever. I think it's like our most made, our most favorite, our latest go-to this summer. It's my Caprese grilled chicken. It is literally so easy and simple. You can absolutely do this indoor on your stovetop, but I've been just doing it on the grill and it is just phenomenal, and I think you're gonna really love it, and I'm gonna share it with you because I've gotten so many questions about it. Every time I share it on Instagram, which is pretty much every week now, I get a ton of people asking me about it. So let me just show you how I make it. It's really simple and easy, and quite versatile as well if you want to do different cheeses, if you want to add more vegetables in here. But we've just got the standard classic Caprese basics, which is tomatoes, basil, and cheese and mozzarella. So let's get going. The first thing we're going to work on is our tomatoes. I've got some beautiful grape tomatoes here, nice and red. I'm doing this on a skillet. You can use any skillet or any pan that's oven proof and stove. Obviously it's going to make sure that you can put it on your stovetop. It can go on the grill is what I'm trying to say. Ordinarily, I make this in like a little. It's kind of like a grilling basket that I layer with aluminum foil. It's not as visually appealing for you, and I want things to look pretty for you. So I'm gonna be doing this in a skillet, but that's typically what I use. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that because that's what I use. Oh, to the cherry tomatoes that I've just cut in half lengthwise, I am going to go ahead and just add some garlic. Now I have my grill on really high heat. You want to make sure your grill is really hot, between 450 and 500, because you need to cook these and caramelize the tomatoes. So to the tomatoes and the garlic, you're going to add a good amount of salt, olive oil, and a drizzle of balsamic vinegar. And the balsamic vinegar really helps caramelize everything and just intensifies the sweetness in your tomatoes, about a tablespoon or so, not too much. Going to give this a really good stir. And I'm going to just pop this onto the grill. Like I said, it's about 500 degrees until they start to caramelize. And then I'll walk you through the next step. All right, so while my tomatoes are about 3/4 of the way cooked, you're going to go ahead and take care of your chicken. I've got 5 thin chicken breasts here. You don't want anything too thick, and you want to make sure that they're nice and even. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drizzle them with some olive oil on both sides. And I'm going to season them, any seasoning of your choice. You can just do salt and pepper. This is what I call my house seasoning, and what I put in here is salt, granulated garlic, granulated onion, a little paprika, a little bit of parsley. And this is like my everyday seasoning, pretty much. My house seasoning is what I call it. And you want to make sure that you coat both sides of the chicken, and then you're going to go ahead and throw this on the grill right alongside with your tomatoes. You can trim a little bit of fat if you want to, but when it's really little, I leave it on because, it's so lean. You need a little tiny bit of fat to keep it flavor, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to walk you through the rest of the steps because everything is pretty much going to happen on the grill from this point on out. All right, those look great. Set them to the side. They're about 3/4 of the way done. The chicken, since it's nice and thin, it's only going to take a couple minutes per side. After a couple minutes on each side, you just take your chicken, you put it right in there, smoosh the tomatoes around a bit, drizzle with your pesto. This is homemade pesto. I made this in a blender, so it's a little bit smoother and almost cream-like, which is perfect because it kind of melts with the sauce. Any pesto will do. Take your tomatoes, and I kind of just nestle them on top of the chicken like that. And then you cover the whole thing with cheese. This is some fresh mozzarella, but really any mozzarella will do. Any cheese will do, really. You could do some feta here, halloumi, provolone, whatever your heart desires. And now you're just going to let this bubble all together until the mozzarella is nicely melted, which will take just a few minutes. All right, my chicken is done. I walked you through the entire thing right on the grill, but basically when the tomatoes were 3/4 of the way cooked and they were blistering and caramelizing, we put the chicken on the grill. It took literally 2 minutes per side because it's nice and thin. I added it to the skillet with the tomatoes. I drizzled on some homemade pesto. Any store-bought pesto will do. And then we put on some fresh mozz and we put it in there until it was melted and bubbly. You can tell that the back part of the grill was the hottest, and that's why the mozzarella started bubbling. But hey, it is delicious. And all this juice right here is begging for some bread, okay? Let me give that a go. And you can really smell the balsamic vinegar, which is sweet and tangy, and it's gonna add a nice little layer of acidity. Hot. So hot. Woo! I did that. I did that to myself. That is literally perfection. I cannot wait to throw this at the dinner table. I'm gonna actually top it with some fresh basil and some toasted pine nuts because I have some pine nuts left over from when I made the homemade basil pesto, which, by the way, the recipe for that is on laurainthekitchen.com. It's my favorite pesto recipe. Everyone loves it, and if you make it in a high-power blender instead of a food processor, you'll get a really thick, creamy, delicious pesto that's also perfect as a salad dressing. So go ahead and get that. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. The recipe is on laurainthekitchen.com, and I will see you next time. I'm gonna go get my bread because I got juices to mop up. You know what I mean?